Welcome to section 8.5. This has us go a little bit deeper into statistics with the principle called percentiles. So percentiles are kind of like the median, where things need to be in order for us to properly identify what a percentile is. So percentiles are used to give people their relative position. So for example, if I took a standardized test like the SAT, they would give me my score back, and it would be 1200, 1500. I don't know what a good score on the SAT is, or if I would even get a good score, but they would give me my score, and they would follow that up by telling me that I'm in the 75th percentile. And the 75th percentile means that 75% of the scores on the SAT exam were less than mine, than my score. So that's pretty good, right? I did better than 75% of the people that took that course. Only 25% scored above me, so I did really well. Obviously, the higher the percentage, the better that we did. But it is a positioning as opposed to a percentage score. So even though my score could be 90% correct, I could have 25% of the people do way better than that. And they were telling me, well, you scored better than 75% of the people that took it. And so that's at heart what a percentile is. If we were to put it in words, the percentile of a value, and I'll write that a little bit differently, the percentile of a given value is the percentage of data that lies, let me not put lies below. I've ran into problems with how people interpret that are less than the given value. And you'll see this in action. It's pretty nice to do, with one exception. It's really just going to be counting. But if you don't know how to find a percentage, then we have an issue. So a percentage is always found by the part divided by the whole. That'll give you the raw number, and then times 100 in order to get it as a percent. Okay? So we'll watch this in action, but I'll model it like that. Hey, the part divided by the whole times 100%. So as you sit down and actually start the homework, it's going to give you a data set, and I want to do a very similar process with you right now. So here's our first example. Here's going to be the setup and the question. They're going to say, consider the data set, and they're going to give you a data set. Here's one I see as an example in the homework. 258, 16, 12, 1, 8, 6, 15, and 4. So they give us this data set, and the question is going to be, what percentile is the data value? And I'm going to do a few examples. The data value 12. Okay, so we want to know what position the 12 is in. Well, the key aspect in all of this, and I'll switch to a highlighter, and I'll go up to my definition up top here. The key is less than. In order to properly identify less than and make sure that you don't miscount, and for the other aspect of their ask, it's always important to do this. The first step that we need to do always when asked a percentile question is arrange the data in order. It may already be done for you. And let me make sure you understand what I mean by order. Arrange data in order from low to high. That will help us out the most anytime we get a percentile question. So we have our data set up towards the top of the screen now. I'm going to rewrite that data set in order from low to high, and I'll put it in red. So it looks like 1's the lowest value. There is a 2, a 4, a 5, So I got the 1, the 2, the 4, the 5. And then I see a 6. Sorry, I almost overlooked that. Don't see any 7s, but I see 2 8s. Couple 8s. And then the next number up, I think, is a 12, 15, and 16. So I'm just going to count up top and down below to make sure. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 original data points. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 rearranged points. So perfect. I probably did it just great. So I'm going to get rid of those top numbers because I don't want them to be confusing. That was just my count of where things were. But let's remember that we had 10 data points given to us. I think that's pretty easy to remember. So here's my data set. My first step is to arrange it in order and then pay attention to the question. The question was, what is the percentile for the data value 12? So let's find 12. And I like to circle it. So there's 12. The question is, when they're asking what percentile is the data value 12, they're asking what percentage of data lies below 12. So the percentile that 12 is in is the percentage of data that lies below 12. No problem. Let's count the values that lie below 12. These values that I'm putting a box around all lie below 12. 12 does not lie below itself, so you're truly counting things that are less than it. In fact, let me get rid of the lies below that are, and put that wording, that are less than 12. That's better for us. So we have, if I start with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 values. Here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 values that are less than 12. Cool. That's the part that's less than 12, right? Part. The whole is the whole count so 7 out of 10. That's going to give me my percentile. 7 out of 10. If I run this on a calculator, I can just type in 7 divided by 10 times 100. And when I do that, it's going to spit out a 70, and then I just put on a percent. So the percentile is 70% or the 75th percentile. Cool. That's really what it's like. So let me rewrite this data set again. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, 8, 12, 15, 16. Put the commas in there in case that's helpful vision-wise. And now I got a new question for us. What percentile is the value 8 at? So let's make sure that we're good with this process. Well, we know what to do. I identify where 8 is in the data set, and there's 2 of them. I'm going to circle them bold. Remember what the percentile is. It's the percentage of data that are less than a value. So I need the things that are less than 8. 8 is not less than 8, so I'm only counting these values down here. These 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 values. 5 values out of how many? There were 10 total values. 5 out of these 10 values that are up here. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's the 10 values, 5 of which lie below the 8, and then times 100%. So again, when I type in 5 divided by 10 times 100 on my calculator, a number is going to come out 50. And we're going to put on the percent sign. So we're at the 50th percentile. So pretty nice. So they ask that type of question, and that's the first type. Now they do ask it in a realm as well where you go to a data set. They're going to have, when you go and do problems 11 through 15, I think it is, or 11 through 20. Can't remember exactly. They're going to have you look at a TN Schools data site. And when you click on that link, they're going to ask you some very pointed questions about the data there. And so we definitely want to take a look at that and see what that's like. So if I go over to the book, you can see down here, like if I look at the homework exercise set, it says to use, I'm looking right below number 10, the directions for 11. For the following exercises, use the data in TN Schools. Well, when you click on that data set, it opens up to, it actually opens up to this average stat thing. And only if you look at the bottom of the screen do you see the different tabs, including what they're asking us to look at, the TN Schools. And when you click on TN Schools, it's going to pay attention to different things here. So let's suppose that they want to know the percentile that corresponds to 71% admission rate. Okay, so let's suppose the question is this. So I think TN stands for Tennessee, but I'll put for the TN Schools admission rate, what percentile corresponds to the admission rate? And let's go find an admission rate. The admission rate, 0.5813. 0.5813. Okay, so let's go back to that data set. We know what to do. We need to find that admission rate and count the data that's below it. But as I look at this data, right, and trying to see if I can make it bigger here. So as I look at this data, admission rate is that first column. Admission rate is there at the C column, and it is not in order. It is most likely in order, yeah, by name of the college in Tennessee. So whenever we want to organize our data, we can come up to here and click data. So I click data as one of the top headers there. And then I thought I could do it a little bit differently. Let's see. Don't know. If I click data, I did click on the column I wanted to do, and I could click, oh yeah, create filter view. That's always nice. So if I create a filter view, it allows me to filter any of the columns. So I guess it's just allowing me to do the one that I'm highlighted on. So if I could click that arrow, I can sort it from A to Z, which number-wise would be from low to high, which is great. Because remember, I need to have it from low to high. And here's all the different admission rates that are here. I'll go in all the way up to 100% admission rate down here at the bottom. Now notice that I'm here at 43, so there's at least 43 pieces, at most 43 pieces of data. But that first line is not data, so there's 42 pieces of data. If I were to count each one, I would get 42. So when I go to answer this question, I apologize because it's going to jump every time. I know that I'm going to divide by 42 times 100% to get my percentile. All I have to do is count the admission rates that are less than 0.5813. Let's go find 0.5813. And so that came out a little bit wonky. Not sure what happened there, but it is not liking that. So I'm going to click off of that tab and come back to it. And it's still sorted, it looks like. Yeah, still sorted. Well, here's the 0.5813 here at line number 9. So if I count the values before it, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 values below it. So again, starting at the 5742 because it's below. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So only 7 out of the 42 are below that. So I put 7 over 42 and then I grab a calculator and see what that's like. So apologize, I'm going to reach into my bag and get a calculator out. And we're going to take 7 divided by 42, and we're going to get 0.16, times 100, right? Apologize, I did multiply by 100, and I get, let me get rid of that decimal point. So if I do 7 divided by 42 times 100, I get 16.6666, so maybe 16.7%. So you could tell me this would be totally an acceptable answer. So would the 16.7th percentile. So would the 17th percentile. To round it makes a lot of sense too, to the nearest whole number. Any of these would be full credit. But I wanted to show you this spreadsheet here so you'd have a little bit more familiarity with it. And I apologize that it's, as I go back and forth from it, it gets a little bit wonky. Okay, awesome. There is a second ask in here. And that second ask, if I go back up to this data set, let's go back to our original data set. And I'll come in here and do some erasing. So the second ask is to, they give you a percentile and then they want you to come up with the value. So if we were to do that here, let's go back to our original data set. We'd want it arranged from low to high, so let's keep that arrangement there. And let me I'll rewrite it. It's going to get a little bit wonky trying to erase like this. So let's remember our data set is 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, 8, 12, 15, 16. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 values. They're also going to ask you, I don't know what just happened there. So 1, 2, that's really strange. Doesn't like going up to the top. So 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, 8, 12, 15, 16. So there's our data set. They're going to ask you to find the, let me just make up a number, the 80th percentile. That's the other question, to give a value that's at the 80th percentile. So they'll say at what percentile, they'll say what data value is at the 80th percentile. So, and so we'll answer that question. So the way to do this is to take the percentage that they give you of the total number of data points. This gives you what I call a location. It's kind of the location, so I'm going to put kind of, but it helps you find it. So 80% of 10, if you run that on your calculator, you get an 8. Remember, this is the number of data points that needs to be below. So where is your data value? Your data value is actually in the position 1 higher, the 9th position. So let's go look at what's in the 9th position. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 15's in the 9th position. Notice that 15 has 8 values below it, making it the 80th percentile. So the answer to the question is just simply 15. If we did that same problem with our admission rates, right? And again, we know it's going to mess up on us, so we'll just go back and forth here. So here's our admission rates. Let's suppose we wanted the 80th percentile here. So if we wanted the 80th percentile for the admission rates, what do? Well, we need to take, so it would say actually they word it like this. What value is at the 80th percentile? That's how they word it in the homework. And here we're going to use the admission rates. Okay. And so we know what to do. we take the desired percentage, 80%, right? And I translated it up there and didn't really explain that. So we're taking 80% of 42. Remember, there were 42 values. 80% written as a decimal is 0.80. Of is always times 42. When you take 0.80 times 42, you get a number, a location, 33.6. And this happens sometimes, and why I wanted to do it. Now, you can't have, what this is saying is you need to make sure there's 33 data values below it. Just like this one, you need to make sure there's 8 data values below it. So we went to the ninth. So in our book, it's very nice. You just go to the next data point always. If it works out to be an even 8, go to the ninth. An even 10, go to the 11th. A 33.6, go to the 34th. A 12.2, go to the 13th. Always going up. So if it worked out to be, my example there was 12.2, we're not doing natural rounding. We're saying you need to have 12 below it, so we got to go up to the 13th value. And we just go into that value. So in our case, we're going to the 34th value. Okay, so be patient here as we go to do that. I am going to have to go back and come back, go out and come back in here. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. That is our guy. Now, I might have driven some of you nuts by saying, Jensen, why aren't you just going to line number 35, which would have the 34th value since the first line? If that was your thought process, you're perfect. I just needed to capture everybody, and counting will capture everybody. When I got to this point 8713, that was the 34th data value. That is the one that has 33 below it. And that was my target, right? Because it was 33.6. And I can't do 0.6, so I can make sure 33 is below it. And so my answer is that, I already forgot what it was. Apologize, I had to go back and come back in. The 0.8713. So the answer is 0.8713 would be the value that is at the 80th percentile. And so you're going to practice this over and over and be really good at it by the time you come and take the exam. The only other thing that they do in here is they talk about quartiles, quintiles. I think those are the only one. They use percentiles mostly, but they do throw in quartiles and percentiles. So in quartiles comes from quarters, which is 25%, and quintiles come from 1/5, which is 20%. So if they say the third quartile, they are saying what they want is 3 25%, which is 75%. So they're asking you for the 75th percentile just in a funny way. If they ask for the third quintile, that's just a funny way to say, hey, you need 3 of these 20%. Oh, you're really dealing with the 60th percentile, right? So in essence, they're saying for the third quartile, find the 75th percentile. For the third quintile, find the 60th percentile. And you just do the same thing. Find out what that location is, round up a number, and go to that location, right? Because what is this calculation is essentially doing, it's not determining what it is determining. Let me word it like that. What it is determining is how many values are less than my value. Okay, cool. I need 8 less than my value. Let me go to the 9th value. Okay, cool. I need 33 and some change. I can't deal with change less than my value. So the 34th data value from low to high would have 33 below it. So that's perfect. And so that's what you're going to be doing in this 8-5 section. Reach out with questions. I appreciate